The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
As he pedals up the left flank, he shoots and scores! Dylan Gunther fires a frozen row, almost too good to believe. Nobody knew it was in. So far this evening, and it's 2-0. Gunther on the attack again. He scores again! Dylan Gunther goes back to back. Peterka shoots, and he scores! Boone had the screen, Peterka the shot, and it's 4-0. Another one of the new line combos finds the magic touch for head coach Andre Journey.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Keary, Jeremiah Jensen. Thanks for being with us on the program today. You can always download the podcast wherever podcasts are found. You can also stream us at KSLSports.com. You can also watch us and stream us at our YouTube channel. And, of course, it's just the KSL Sports YouTube channel. Easy enough to find there. All sorts of ways for you to be able to watch this thing. We're going to get the radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth on momentarily. His name's Mike Folta. We love having Mike on. He's awesome. That was a fun one. You just heard his voice on the way in. The 6-1 win meant something to me, JJ, that was a little bit more than just the 6-1 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. We said it yesterday. That win gets them to 50 points, and that felt significant.
Yeah.
In a moment where they're still 11 points behind the Wild and Dallas in their division. It's a tough division. It's the hardest division in hockey, but that was a great step forward. And so far, they had the overtime loss. It was just the 1 point, but other than that, 7 of the 8 points they could have earned on this homestand so far they've gotten.
We've been talking about consistency with this team for quite a while now, ever since that 7-game win streak early in the season. We hadn't seen that consistency. They'd have a great effort and a great game, followed by a head-scratcher, and it felt like a pattern. Well, now they get into January, and you mentioned the run they're on here now, and this is what we expected them to do. You get home for a period of time after playing more road games than anybody in the first half of the schedule in the NHL, and now you're making progress, stacking up points, stacking up W's. Outside of the overtime loss to Columbus, it's been a pretty good run here to start the season, or start the new year, and they got to hold on to that spot. You got to create a gap between you and those Pacific Division teams that are bunched up there. You also need to create a gap between you and Nashville. The Preds are coming. They just beat them earlier a couple weeks ago, and they're only 2 points behind Utah for that spot. So the heat is on, and Utah's got to start stacking W's, and it's got to continue.
Well, it was a great start last night, obviously, because this one was huge. Coming off of the overtime loss to Columbus, it just felt icky. Some tweaks were made to the lineup. You just heard it in the intro there with the voice of the Mammoth, Mike Folta, who pointed it out. Some tweaks to the lines, including Dylan Gunther getting moved to a different line. Seems to have paid off. Mike Folta, the radio play-by-play voice of the Mammoth, joining us on the program. Didn't just pay off; it paid off huge. Yesterday, Mike, on our show, we were like, gotta have JJ Peterka scoring goals again. Got to have Dylan Gunther scoring again, and they both did. It seemed like everybody did. Massive win last night. What was it like inside the stadium when it got to that 4-0 moment?
Oh, just like JJ on the putting green, Andre Tourney had the magic touch when making some tweaks to the lineup the other night. It was some shuffling that honestly, like, we didn't really know what to think about going in because we hadn't seen these combos before. And what do you know? One of the lines that he puts together is Dylan Gunther, who's Utah's leading goal scorer, along with Jack McBain, who's kind of a tough, bruiser, and then Michael Carcone, a speedster, a scorer. And that line had 4 of Utah's 6 goals. They were buzzing, and you could feel it even before they scored that they were going to connect. And everything was firing in favor of Utah last night. It was a favorable scheduling spot because you had Toronto coming in on game 2 of a back-to-back. They played a high-paced, emotional game in Colorado the night before. But nobody's feeling sorry for him, right? Like, you can't apologize for taking advantage of the scheduling spots that are given to you. Mammoth are going to be in some tough scheduling spots in the weeks ahead. And they jumped on a Toronto team that didn't know what hit them. And it was 1-0 after the first, and then Utah just kind of kept the train rolling down the tracks with that line of Gunther, McBain, and Carcone. They were just pouring them in.
As a new franchise, there's always firsts, and we encounter firsts. It feels almost like on a weekly basis, and last night was another one. It was the first time they'd ever beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I know eventually they're going to beat every team in the league. It's just a matter of time. But how important was that, or how significant, or how much fun was it to watch Utah do that against one of the most historic hockey programs or hockey teams in the NHL's history?
Yeah, I mean, they're an original six franchise, and a bunch of Utah's players, right, are from Ontario or from Canada, and you could tell there was a little extra juice, I think, in some of those guys' game, where a guy like Barrett Hayton, who grew up in Peterborough, Ontario, a little outside of Toronto, he's probably got a bunch of buddies watching back home in Toronto, right? Like this is a game where finally, if you only have the TSN feed or the Sportsnet feed, you can watch your old buddy Barrett Hayton play, and he was fantastic. Jack McBain had himself a goal and a couple of assists. He's another Toronto guy. So I think those Ontario natives, they got it going a little bit. They knew that there were a few more eyeballs on them last night from back home, and they showed out. But aside from being just a historic franchise, Toronto was a team that was one of the hottest teams in the league coming into that game. They had points in 10 straight games, so they had won 8 of their last 10, and their only losses in that span had come in overtime. They had just beaten the league's best team the night before in Colorado, and so this is a team that is not just hot, but they also feature some of the best players in the world. Austin Matthews may very well be the best American-born goal scorer when it's all said and done. They have guys like William Nylander, who's one of the best Swedish players that we've ever seen in the league, and that's saying quite a bit. They have elite players, like world-class guys, and Utah took it to them. 6-1, like, would that happen 10 times out of 10 if these two teams played? No, probably not. But the Mammoth made the most of it on a night where things were going their way.
Before the Mammoth head out on another few games on the road, this 7-game stand is still going, and they've got quite a bit of some tests in front of them. They've scored 7 out of the 8 points so far. That one overtime loss, of course, against Columbus. Forget about it because he had the 6-1 win against Toronto, and you're rolling here. And I made this comparison with JJ last week. I said, look, they were at the same point total last year at this point. And then they went on to lose, I think, 3 or 4 games in a row when they had 43 points. And now they've already flipped the script on last year's schedule. How do the next team stack up? Because I'm scared as heck to see the Dallas Stars come into Delta Center.
Yeah, Dallas is one of the best teams in the league. They're second place in the Central Division, which, I mean, pretty much everybody is playing for second place because the Avalanche are that good. But it's pretty crazy that Dallas is in their worst stretch of the year. They've only won twice in their last 10 games. And they still are at the top of the league standings. Like, this is a rough patch for them, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And they're still one of the league's best teams. One of the reasons they've taken a little bit of a downturn is their power play has dried up a little bit. They only have 2 power play goals in their last, I think it's like 9 games, where that's something that they lean on heavily. They have a guy named Wyatt Johnston who leads the NHL in power play goals, but it's back-to-back games for Utah where you have like just some of the best players in the world coming to the Delta Center, where Wyatt Johnston's an elite player. You've got Jason Robertson, who was a snub for Team USA. A lot of people thought that he would make it. Jamie Benn is their captain, their leader. He's one of those hard-nosed guys. He's had a lot of success against Utah. And then they've got one of the best goalies in the world, Jake Ottinger, is going to be playing for Team USA at the Olympics coming up. That's who Utah is going to face tomorrow. So it's a great test for the Mammoth. They've always played Dallas close. Now, close doesn't get you anything in the NHL, but you even look back to last year. There's been 5 matchups between these teams, and in 4 of those 5 matchups, the game has been decided by 1 goal. And the one game that wasn't decided by 1 goal, it was a 1-goal game in the third. Utah got a goal late to win 5-3. But the games are always close with Dallas. Utah played Dallas close earlier in the year, lost by 1. That was the night after Clayton Keller had learned about his father's passing. So it was an emotional game. It was an emotional game for Utah. And They came up just a little bit short because the Stars cashed in on some power plays, but it is a great test because the Stars team has been to the conference finals year after year after year, and they think this is their chance to finally break through, which they haven't done. I mean, guys, like when you fire your coach after making it to the conference finals, that tells you the kind of expectations that an organization has.
Dallas bookends this 8-game stretch coming up that is just brutal, Mike. I know you've looked at it. Dallas, Seattle, Philadelphia, Nashville, Tampa Bay, Florida, Carolina, and Dallas again. Is this a stretch coming up here that could determine whether or not they get in the playoffs? Their success during this stretch, how important will it be?
Yeah, I think because we were talking about this on the broadcast, like I think we're in the middle of a stretch that, yes, is one of those determining stretches, one of those crucial stretches. And I think there's another one coming up. I'm going to separate it just for my sanity, where I'm going to look at the 7 home games as its own stretch. And we're going to try and just make the most out of these 7 at home. And then we'll worry about that just bagger of a road trip coming up. Yeah. That is a doozy. That's some great cities, some great towns where we're going to, enjoy some good weather and take in some sunshine coming up. But boy, these last couple years when the weather's good in the East Coast and you're on the road, that usually means you're playing a pretty good team, like Florida and like Tampa, and like Carolina for that matter too. But it's a great challenge on the road, but I think the Mammoths have plenty of work to do here at home. Seattle's been playing better this season, better than people expected, as is Philadelphia. Those are 2 teams in playoff spots right now. So 3 more games on this homestand against teams that are currently in postseason spots. And this time last year, Utah kind of missed out on an opportunity to make the most of a 7-game homestand. Utah so far is making the most of it, but a long way to go here on this home stretch. So that's what I'm looking at, these next 3.
Do the golf clubs fit on the team charter, Mike? I'm just wondering if on that Tampa and Florida trip down there, I mean, it'd be a shame if you couldn't get out there on the links a little bit.
I saw Ryan Smith drill a hole-in-one at Pebble Beach the other day. I was like, wow, sick life. Owns 2 teams, hole-in-one at Pebble Beach.
It's good to be him.
Jeez. Second year in the league, if I showed up with golf clubs, I would get laughed back down to single A hockey. So that'd be a no-go. Although I did in the minor leagues, it's a little bit more touch and go. You're closer with the equipment guys, things like that. I did bring the clubs to Florida once in the minors. But there's no room.
Indoor facilities only for you this time of year. No problem. All right. Yeah, get your
maybe
swings
maybe I'll bring a glove and like 24 Kirkland balls, and I'll
there you go.
Rent them.
There you go.
That should last me about 9 holes.
24 Kirkland balls. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, those are okay. Don't hate on those balls. That Kirkland.
Don't get me wrong.
It's not bad.
I don't throw that one back in the woods. I keep
there you
those.
Go, see?
You know what I mean?
You got plenty of those in your bag.
Mike Folta, radio play-by-play voice of the Utah Mammoth, joining us. Last week, we were all keeping it under the lid, you especially because you're on your way up to Rice-Eccles Stadium for the official announcement. The official announcement happened right after you were off the air with us, but just try to explain how big of a deal it is with the Winter Classic coming to Utah next year.
It's a huge deal. It's the marquee event. Outside of the Stanley Cup Finals, it's the marquee event of the NHL calendar, and it's one of those like kind of tent pole dates in the NHL season, and for Utah to get it in year 3 is enormous. And we've seen fan bases just balloon from these events, right? We saw it in Seattle a couple years ago. They had a Winter Classic where the Mariners play, so you got your Mariners hat on.
Oh yeah,
there, Alex, but. They had one where the Mariners play, I believe it was, and it's such an unbelievable community thing, and it's so much more than just the game itself, the Winter Classic. There's always like these fan areas around the stadium, and I mean, think of like a Utes tailgate, a BYU tailgate, but just multiply that, and that's what we're gonna have, and it's gonna be incredible. And I remember real quick, when I was in the minor leagues and I was with the Blackhawks minor league affiliate. Like I wasn't doing anything related to the Chicago Blackhawks, but just being a part of the organization when they got a Winter Classic, you could feel the ripple effect throughout the organization of the impact of that game, the impact on the business side of things, the impact on the community side of things, and the impact on the hockey side of things. And I remember when Chicago lost that game at Wrigley badly, they got embarrassed by the St. Louis Blues. Like there was some, like the GM never comes into the room, right? Like that's kind of a rule. It's just, that's the coach, that's the player's domain. I'm pretty sure, I'm hopefully not getting this wrong, but there was a strong message from Chicago leadership to the Blackhawks that is not acceptable. When it's a Winter Classic, it's a huge deal. It is not okay to show up and lay an egg at a game like this, but it's a huge deal for the team, and I hope everybody in our community realizes how incredible of an event this is going to be.
Cannot wait for that coming up about a year from now, but we don't have to wait long for the Olympics. And here at KSL, we're very proud to be the exclusive home of the Olympics here in this market, and the chance to show these games on KSL is going to be exciting because we're going to have 4 Mammoth players involved. You've talked to some of these players about that opportunity that they're going to have to play in the Olympics. What does this mean to them? What does it mean to the franchise?
Well, it's everything, and let's start with the team perspective, right? Like talking to head coach Andre Cherney, he wants these guys to go and learn, and there's a ton of stories, not just in hockey but in other sports too, where good players go and surround themselves with greatness, and they come back as better players, and they pick up habits. You know, if you're Clayton Keller for Team USA, you're sitting in that room, you're looking across at Austin Matthews, at Kyle Connor, at Connor Hellebuck, best goalie in the world, at some of these elite players, and you get to pick up habits from them, not just in the room, but also on the ice. You think of JJ Peterka, he's going to probably have a chance to play on a line with arguably the best German player ever in Leon Draisaitl. Those two will be playing for Team Germany, and Peterka's going to have a front row view to witness what Draisaitl's greatness looks like. And so the individuals get to bring that back to Utah and contribute to a team setting there. But for these players, it's everything. Like it's what they dream about, right? And they dream about holding the Stanley Cup, but to represent your country is even on a different level, I would say. And Olli Mata will be representing Team Finland. He's actually the only player on Utah who has already been. Well, I shouldn't say that because McBain has been in the Olympics, but that was when there weren't NHLers allowed.
Yeah.
But back in 2014, when NHLers were allowed, Olli Mata was there participating, and he was playing alongside his idols like Teemu Selanne and these really famous Finnish names. So it's a dream come true for all these guys. It's best on best. And we saw it from last year's Four Nation. These international competitions are kind of where legacies are born, right? And you can do it in the finals, you can do it in the playoffs, but when you get best on best like this, especially U.S.-Canada, I mean, remember back to last year, the Tkachuk brothers? I mean, everybody in the hockey community knew about Brady and Matthew Tkachuk, but even casual fans know about those guys because they were throwing haymakers right off the first faceoff in the U.S. versus Canada game. So legends are born in these best on best tournaments, and it's a chance for guys to rewrite their narrative.
I just real quick handicap Team USA for us. Like we've had a lot of people speaking in massive hyperbole, and maybe it is correct, but how good is this Team USA compared to the ones we've seen in the past who've been fielded for this? Because I know it's been, I guess, 12. It'll be 12 years since we've seen NHL guys, but I don't know. I've never looked at Team USA as being like they're always going to be an underdog, you know, to an extent. Everyone's going to be an underdog to Canada, but how good is this team compared to other teams we've seen on the ice?
It's really good. It's deep. There are some guys that you'll see on like the third and fourth lines that play really hard, especially on both ends of the ice. I think we learned that from Four Nations, that you can't just have like four lines of guys who are defined by their skill. You have to have guys that play both sides of the puck all over the ice. I love the United States defense. I mean, Canada's defense was fantastic last year, but you look at Team USA, you have Zach Werenski, you have Quinn Hughes, who was injured last year for the Four Nations. He's one of the best D-men in the world. There's basically three top defensemen in the world. Cale Makar is in a class by himself. He plays for Colorado. He's Canadian. But then Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski who play for Minnesota and Columbus, respectively. Those two guys are like 1B and 1C. Like, they're incredible. They'll both be there for Team USA. I'm excited to see that. And the Americans should have the best goaltender in the world, too, and Connor Hellebuck. He'll be there. Jake Ottinger of Dallas will be there as well. You'd think the Americans have a goaltending advantage over Canada and over some of these other countries because Canada's bringing Jordan Binnington, who was a hero in net for them at the Four Nations last year, but his numbers this year are pedestrian, to put it kindly. He's like a big game guy, right? So you need a save, you need one win, you go to Jordan Binnington, but just his body of work is not impressive this year. So you don't have a Crosby, you don't have a McKinnon, you don't have a McDavid on Team USA, but you have a ton of good players, including Clayton Keller, and the defensemen for the Americans are really impressive.
Mike Folta is going to have the call. It's going to be a big one tomorrow night at Delta Center. You're going to have the Dallas Stars coming into town. Division foe, one of the best teams in hockey, and it's a big one. They're all getting to be big, Mike. So we appreciate you coming on and dropping all of the knowledge on us. And we'll talk to you again, man.
All right, I got Purdue and Iowa on Big Ten Network here coming up.
Good luck to the Boilermakers.
I'm here on my couch, ready to
Fire it
take
up.
in
I love it.
win. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Mike, we'll see you later, man. There
Thanks,
you go.
Mike.
Mike Folta, everybody.